We just got one of the craziest moments in all of JJK. Yuji popped his domain expansion against Sukuna, and presumably Sukuna just got off screen and sent to the afterlife. So it seems like Yuji has already won this fight, right? That's what everyone's saying. Yuji has already won. Well, what if I told you Yuji cannot win this fight under any circumstances? And that's because there's a key factor that everybody's missing that will determine who will actually win this fight. Even though I think Yuji's domain will push Sukuna to the brink, I do think Sukuna's gonna come out of this fight the winner. And there is a lot to talk about, especially in regards to Yuji's domain, so let's get right into this. Be sure to leave a like on the video, it helps out a ton, thank you. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for a ton of consistent and quality JJK content just like this. Less than 10% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, so if you love JJK, I promise you, you won't get subscribing. And of course, thank you to the special great members of the channel, it's always much appreciated, guys. So the first thing that we need to talk about before I actually explain why I think Sukuna will win this fight is, what is up with Yuji's domain expansion and what is going on? I think this is probably going to be the ones that is going to be the hardest to predict, simply because there's so many different possibilities, and I'll be honest, it's limitless. There are genuinely an infinite number of things GEGE could do, and to predict it down to the exact T is going to be impossible, but what we can do is try to at least be as accurate as we can be and try to predict certain aspects of the domain. So what do we see when the domain is popped? Well, we see one of two things. Either A, Yuji and Sukuna are in the afterlife, which is an interesting possibility and it would be pretty fitting in regards to what happened with Sukuna off-screening Jogo, Kashimo, Gojo, and all these guys and sending them to the afterlife. It'd be pretty fitting if Yuji did this to Sukuna and sent him to the afterlife. But one key detail that makes me think that maybe what we're seeing is not the afterlife and the domain is the fact that the editor themselves said that the fight has just begun and they're entering the domain for the decisive battle. One thing that's pretty interesting is that when the editor makes a comment at the end of every Shonen Jump chapter, because the editor for every manga is different, usually how we interpret the statements is different. So for example, the editor for Naruto, he's notorious for exaggerating a lot or saying things that wouldn't happen, because again, every mangaka has a different editor. Now, just looking at the history of Jujutsu Kaisen's editor, it does seem like he's someone who tends to say the truth or actually predict what will happen in the future chapters or next time. At least most of the time. There have been times when he's just straight up baited us, but for example, the moment of Choso when we saw Sukuna summon the flames, the editor said that certain death is coming as he's talking about the next chapter, and what do we see next chapter? Certain death did come with the flames, it was Choso's death. So if we are taking the editor's words as truth and for face value, this means that for a fact, what we're witnessing right now is not the afterlife, but rather Yuji's domain expansion. And there's some decent evidence for this. It's the fact that they're in a train station. We know that a domain expansion usually brings out your innate domain, and it usually represents your soul. So we've obviously seen this with Megumi when his domain is just the shadows, pure darkness, very fitting for his technique. The same with Gojo with the whole infinity concept. Sukuna's malevolent shrine, of course, very fitting for Sukuna, a cannibal, a killer. And the best example of all is Yuta's domain, unequivocal love. It has nothing to do with his technique at all and has everything to do with Yuta's inner soul and his love for Rika. So for this reason, it would make sense that Yuji's domain expansion would be a train station, because obviously it ties a lot to his character, as we've seen in the opening of Jujutsu Kaisen. GEGE may be taking a bit of inspiration there, or maybe even foreshadowing. It could be the other way around. The point being, what I think we're witnessing right now is the domain expansion. I could be wrong about this, and for all I know, what we're going to see next chapter, it's actually the afterlife, and it's more so Yuji guiding Sukuna through the afterlife, and he's going to show him a flashback of how he killed Sukuna, and maybe that is why Yuji's happy, because it's so confusing. Why is Yuji happy? As a matter of fact, all of it's confusing. Why Sukuna's in his true form, why they're in a train station, and most importantly, why Yuji's happy. A big reason why he could be happy is if simply he's won. He's killed Sukuna, and he's happy for that reason. He's like, yo, Sukuna, let me show you around and show you a flashback of how I killed you. That would make a lot of sense. But also another reason why he could be happy is because he got the sure hit off. So maybe what we're witnessing is not the afterlife, but the domain expansion, and the reason he's happy is because he knows he's won this fight with his domain expansion. He's popped it, Sukuna's trapped in it, his soul is absolutely fucked, and he's won. Now, as for what's going on inside of the domain expansion, if it were to be the domain expansion, again, the biggest reason I'm banking on the fact that it's the domain expansion is the editor's words. It could be the case that the editor completely tricked me and it's not the domain, it's the afterlife. If that's the case, I'll hold that L next chapter when it comes, but assuming that this is the domain expansion, there's so many different possibilities right now as to why we're seeing Sukuna's soul. The biggest reason has to be the soul resonance. In case you aren't aware, it has been foreshadowed time and time again that Yuji and Sukuna have a deep connection between their souls. Sukuna outright said this when he said that him and Yuji have a deeper connection that goes even beyond the flesh because both their souls inhabited one body. Once again, it was mentioned by Todo straight up, not even hinting or being vague. It directly says that there is a soul resonance between the souls of Sukuna and Yuji, that there is a deep connection between the two. And of course, as we saw in the Takaba fight, soul resonance can do a lot of things. It can even affect the soul or even the very memory of your opponent if you affect their soul resonance. And these again are Kenjaku's own words. That's what soul resonance can do, and Todo uses the exact same wording, soul resonance, that Yuji and Sukuna have for each other. So it could be possible that when Yuji actually casts domain expansion, what we're witnessing is a soul resonance between the two, and because their souls are so connected, because there's such a deep connection, connection. That's why Sukuna appears in the Yuji Kuna form, because of the deep connection between their souls and because they were once linked, rather than Sukuna appearing in his Meguna form or even in his true form. Because it's possible that Yuji actually pulled Sukuna inside of himself, which could be a possibility, but I'm actually thinking more so what we're witnessing, it's simply just the domain expansion rather than Yuji pulling him inside of himself. Because what is a domain expansion? You are literally projecting your inner soul, your innate domain, out onto the real world. So he's already pretty much done that by getting Sukuna inside of his domain expansion. And of course, there's so many other things that goes into it, such as maybe Yuji hasn't even hit his sure hit yet, and all we're witnessing are the rules of the domain, similar to how Higuruma's domain had rules you had to play by, how the old-time domain expansions had this, how the moment you enter Higuruma's domain, no matter who you are, you cannot commit any violence. We even saw this with Sukuna when we saw his true form enter Higuruma's domain. He just had to stand there until the domain expansion ended with his arms crossed. He literally could not do a thing. Even though he's Ryomen Sukuna, it didn't matter how strong he is, he was forced to play by the rules of the domain. So just simply by entering Yuji's domain, and if there are any rules like Higuruma's, such as it forces your soul out or it forces no violence, then maybe that's what we're witnessing, and that's why Sukuna's in his Yuji Kuna form, and maybe that's why he's not going to be able to damage Sukuna. Simply, it could be something like that. All I'm saying is that maybe there are some rules to the domain that we don't know about that we'll get to know in the next chapter, or maybe he's actually hit his sure hit, and that's why Yuji's so happy. Now for the most important part of the video, the whole point of this. Why do I think that, even with everything that I just said, Yuji cannot win this fight? And what I'm more so saying is I don't think Yuji can win the war. I think it's possible that yes, he's actually going to win the shorthand fight, and he's actually going to push Sukuna to the absolute brink, because someone needs to do it, and it would be pretty cool if it's the MC. You know, Sukuna got his reverse curse technique back, he's stronger than ever, he's very powerful, so I really like the concept that Sukuna got his reverse curse technique back, and if Yuji beats him in this way, then you can't really make the argument that, oh, Sukuna was super nerfed, that's why he beat him. Well, actually you still can. I mean, let's be honest, it took literally the entire verse, because this guy Sukuna took on the whole verse in a gauntlet without any rest. And keep in mind, every single fight I'm about to list, Sukuna took all these fights on with no rest in between. He fought Gojo, Kashimo, then he fought a 5v1 against everyone, then he did a 2v1 against Higuruma and Yuji, then he did a 3v1 with Yuta, Rika, and Yuji against Sukuna in the domain, then immediately got stabbed in the heart and had a 3v1 with Maki, Kusakabe, and Ino, then Miguel and LaRue came, and then it became a 5v1 again, then Yuji was dominating him one-on-one until he activated his domain expansion, and then Todo and Yuji came for a 2v1. As you can see, it's just continuously a long drawn-out fight without any rest, so you really got to give props to Sukuna for going this long. So even if Yuji wins, of course, it was a big group effort. But even so, that's why I think it is deserved if Yuji does win now. You know, it's not like he really beat Sukuna in a true 1v1. It took everyone, everything, every last drop they had, even to characters coming back from the dead, possessing dead bodies to beat this guy. So even with all that being said, I actually do think Yuji will win this shorthand fight. I think his domain is what we've been waiting for since the beginning of the series. It's been foreshadowed since the beginning. It's what we've all wanted. Yuji's domain expansion. It's so deserved that Yuji's domain is the thing that pops the cap in Sukuna's head. But there's one key thing that a lot of people are forgetting, and it's the merger. The merger is probably the most important thing left in the entire series, and there's so many theories in regards to the merger itself. I've made so many videos on it. I've said that Yuji's going to take the merger in, maybe Sukuna's going to take it in, maybe Kenjaku will be in the merger. That's a theory that Blaziken said, that I love that theory. And the theory that I love the most is that the merger is going to be this humanoid form, because everyone assumes it's going to be this giant kaiju, this giant beast, which it could be. I mean, even Kenjaku, when it shows the picture of what he thinks the merger is going to be, it's sort of this Attack on Titan Eren Yeager type creature, this huge monster, right? But it would be pretty interesting if it's simply a small humanoid figure. And this is also foreshadowed because even Kenjaku says, I have no idea what the merge is going to look like. It could even be a funny, goofy face. I don't know. So whatever it is, it would make sense because it's never been said that it's going to look like anything that we know. But the point being is, I think the merger is something that's going to come into play at the very end, sort of like a final FU to Yuji, where Yuji actually beats Sukuna. He actually just brings him down, and then Sukuna's like, yeah, that's right, I'm just summoning the merger, it's game over. And in this scenario, this is where I think Megumi's actually going to play the biggest role, because as we all know, Megumi's the one who has authority over the merger. Of course, a byproduct of this is that Sukuna also has authority over the merger simply because he possesses Megumi's body, just as in the way that Kenjaku possesses Geto's body, he has possession over all the things that Geto did. And this actually ties into a very key line by GEGE, where GEGE said that either all four of the main cast will either live or only one of them will live. And he said it's Gojo, Nobita, Megumi, and Yuji. The fact that Gojo is confirmed dead, and then also we have Nobita being said as eliminated by GEGE, yeah, it does seem like either Yuji or Megumi are dying for a fact. Unless GEGE goes back on his word and he's not going to do this, then that's one thing. But at least going by what GEGE GEGE said, and it does seem like he's going down this path of killing 3 of them. One of the 2 of Megumi and Yuji are going to have to die, and a lot of people, the most popular and common theory is that Yuji will be the one to die because it's so in character for him, self-sacrifice way. I mean, even a lot of people are theorizing that Yuji's already dead, that his domain, and I really love this idea, where it's a domain that kills everybody inside of it, and that's why we're seeing both Yuji and Sukuna in the afterlife. I mean, we did see Sukuna enter other people's afterlife, he entered Jogo's, and even entered Kashimo's personal one, and he wasn't dead, so just because Yuji's in the afterlife doesn't mean he's dead, but it's very fitting for his character, his nature, and everything that's been foreshadowed for him to actually end his own life to kill Sukuna, because that's something that he said many times that he would do, and he's even attempted many times. He said that when he found out that Sukuna's the Fallen, he said, I'll kill Sukuna to kill myself. He's literally done it before in the detention center, so in that way, it would be very fitting for his character to take them both out. It's very similar to, and just a spoiler warning for the final part of the Bleach anime, so skip ahead by 10 seconds if you don't want to hear these spoilers, but Shinsui's Bankai, how it's a play, and by the end of the play, actually kills himself and his opponent. It's a guaranteed kill. Yuji's domain could be something similar to this, where he took himself out and he took Sukuna out as well, so in that way, maybe Yuji's the one who's actually going to die in the end, but I just don't think the series is going to end like that, with both of them already being dead. I think the one who will die by the end of the series is Megumi, and because he actually has authority over the merger, he's the one who will be able to make the sacrifice to end the merger by taking his own life, by taking himself with it. If Sukuna actually merges Megumi's body and his own body with the merger, then Megumi may make that sacrificial play to take himself out and the merger, and he can do that, he has the authority, and that way Megumi will be the one to die and Yuji will be the last one to live. Such a cruel fate for Yuji, because he's the one that actually wants to die the most, he's the only one that wants to die, and if he's the one who's left alive the last, it's just very fitting for GEGE to torture him like that. But in this way, it's why I think that Sukuna will actually not lose via the domain right now, because everyone's saying that Yuji's popped the domain, it's game over, Sukuna's lost. I think he'll have a short-term loss, but long-term, I truly think he's going to summon the merger, and in that way, I think Yuji cannot win. No matter what Yuji does, the merger will come out in the end, and that will be the grand problem in the end. Yuji's domain cannot beat Sukuna. Or maybe I'm wrong, and they're already both in the afterlife. We'll see if I'll take that out. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you actually think Yuji's domain will kill Sukuna, or do you agree with me that it won't be enough and the merger will come out in the end, and that will actually be the final battle? If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, it helps out a ton. Thank you so much. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for a ton of consistent and quality JJK content just like this. Like I said in the intro, less than 10% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, so if you love JJK, I promise you, you won't get subscribing. And of course, thank you to all the channel members as well. It's always much appreciated, guys. Thank you so much. But that's all from me. Have a great day and take care.